Unfortunately, many Americans live under this glass bubble of delusion that this is the greatest country in the world currently. There's so many hardships and statistics I'm about to show you a few that would make us probably question otherwise. This YouTube channel I've been watching, I thought she put together a really good comparison and discussion about first world countries and third world countries, because I think many Americans have this false narrative about third world countries and how could you move to these countries. But you're about to see why. You're about to see why so many Americans are moving to these other countries.
Americans are homeless each night. Over half of working adults can't afford a $500 emergency. The top 1% of Americans hold over 30% of the nation's wealth.
I want to pause this chart real quick. Go back to the other thing so you can see it in its full percentiles. It's hard to fathom, let alone most people can't even count to $1 million, right? But there's people in this country that own billions, if not trillions. Could you tell me what 995,000 how much it weighs, how many suitcases it would fill? Like, that's not even $1 million. Now think about $100 million. Now think about $900 million. That's not even a billion yet. And there's billionaires that are sitting on all this wealth. And the thing I wish people would wake up and understand is, like, when you reach a certain threshold of money, your money makes money. And that's the thing that's totally wrong in this capitalist society today, is once you reach that threshold, if you own enough, the money works for you. You don't have to invest your time or your labor anymore. That's for the peasants. All right? So if you're born or inherited all this wealth, sit back and relax, Billy. Daddy took care of it generations back. So the future is yours to own, and the people in the future are yours to own. That's what the wealth is about in America today.
While the bottom 50% of Americans hold just 2% of the wealth. I know what it
Bottom
feels
50%,
like,
less than 3% of the wealth. That's freaking crazy.
We've experienced food insecurity. We have lived without access to affordable health care. We have lost jobs through no fault of our own, and we have been exhausted. But after we left the US to find a better life for our family, we noticed something that changed the way we viewed everything. In places that America calls developing countries or third world countries, we have found people living better on far less, but are much happier. They have much higher quality of lives than we did back in the States. The system in America is not broken by accident. It is broken by design, and it is something that we all need to start talking about more. Let's be honest, for a lot of Americans, especially in rural areas, life isn't just hard, it's broken. And if you're living it, you don't need statistics to know what I'm talking about, but let's go over some anyway, just so that you know you're not alone. 1 in 8 Americans rely on food banks or SNAP just to feed their families.
So she's about to get into some of the social security benefits the poverty here in America get, but I think she's also maybe going to expose some of the loopholes in it, that why it doesn't really work out. Now, she brought up food stamps, and a land like America, nobody should be going hungry. We have surplus food. We have so much we waste. So nobody should be going really hungry in America. But when it comes to food stamps and getting fresh, clean, healthy food, that might be more of an issue. When it comes to affording these foods, you have to keep your asset level under a certain threshold, which I believe is only $2,000. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the rent prices most places in America, but maybe you can find a decent place for $1,000 anymore, maybe. But then you got to consider other expenses like your health insurance, car insurance, phone bill, uh, groceries, gas. All those things aren't getting cheaper.
Have doubled in many towns, even while wages stay flat. Healthcare cost is the leading cause of bankruptcy in the US. And in rural areas, no hospitals for miles, no public transit, no options. If you're poor in America,
Yes, I'll point this out too. America sucks when it comes to public transportation in most places. There are a few cities I'll have an exception for. But when I first visited Southeast Asia, oh my God, the way they travel through bus, through train, through motorbike, and it's all affordable. It's not like going to New York and paying $20 to go 2 blocks or whatever. It's I don't know. I don't know what to say. The BTS, the metro, all that stuff, super affordable, super clean. Also, like I haven't spent too much time in the New York subways, but when I went to Bangkok, that all that was clean and functioned really well.
you are expected to survive a system that was never designed for you. You're told to work harder, hustle more, grind until it gets better. But the truth is, you can work every single day of your life, multiple jobs, and still never be able to afford to buy a home, to pay.
I want you to stop and think about this real quick. How many people do you know that have worked most days of their lives at some hard blue collar job? I'm not going to say management or someone that never really worked their way totally to the top, but someone who's showed up year after year, punching in, punching out, those types of jobs. I just wanted to ask you, and you can leave your comments below, but like how many of those people feel fulfilled or are happy, let's just say. And you can be the gauge, and I think a lot of people tell themselves they're happy because they're trying to build this American dream that once existed. But how many of those people are in debt? How many of those people have health issues because so much of their time is taken to this job or to their work, which that's the problem I feel like today is most people center their entire lives around their occupation. It's like we don't get to decide how to spend our lives anymore because we have to produce to earn enough to pay for this box that we can sleep in at the end of the day.
Pay all of your medical bills or to buy truly healthy food for your family. That is not a personal failure. That is what happens when your country treats basic human needs as a profit opportunity. We did everything to make it work. We grew our own food. We bought things secondhand. We took care of our stuff. We fixed stuff when it broke instead of buying new things. We were not materialistic. We were super frugal and lived below our means, debt-free. We just did all the things that we felt were right. But still, no matter how frugal we were, no matter what we did, we still could never truly break out of the system. And it's not just us, it's our loved ones, our grandparents, aunts, cousins, neighbors. They are all working so hard and they're still struggling. They work in factories, construction jobs, in slaughterhouses. They're CNAs, they're teachers. These are irreplaceable jobs that are vital, but yet
And
they're
struggling.
still not paid a living wage.
Still
the
struggling.
constant fear of your car breaking down or a illness that will keep you from going to work and paying your bills, let alone a doctor's visit. One bad month that can completely wipe you out. That isn't freedom. That
Most
is
people are
survival
one
mode.
terrible incident away from their lives changing forever. Now, I'm not going to drop too much drama on you for what's happened, but my uncle recently got in a car wreck, okay? He just started a job. He hasn't been there more than 3 months. So, guess what? No health insurance. He totaled his truck. Thank God he didn't break his neck or back, and he's just pretty bruised up and everything. But as he's in the ER, they got some woman that works there that looks non-threatening, bringing in the consent form, saying, "Here, sign consent to the treatment and for us to bill you later." And it's just like, we don't even know what we're consenting to at these hospitals. They make you sign legal documents without giving you the total cost first. That should be illegal. There actually was a law that passed in 2022 called the No Surprise Act, but it seems like nobody here is following that shit. So again, they just expect you to just be thankful that we're treating you and we checked your blood pressure and everything came out okay. So here's $4,000. $5,000. I don't know what's going to be, but they had to do images and CT scans, and he's probably going to need an MRI on his spine because he still can't walk great. Yeah, he's bankrupt. It's going to take all his money, probably his house. He's going to have to sell his house, and now he doesn't even have a car. So I feel for him.
And that's what it feels like to millions of people across the US. This is the country that is the wealthiest nation in the world, and a huge percentage of the population can barely make ends meet. So we made a decision that most people don't even think is possible. We left. We started traveling Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, and what we saw completely changed our viewpoint of what a poor country actually looks like and what's possible when a society prioritizes people over profit. We weren't looking for much when we left the US. Honestly, we were just looking for a more affordable place to survive and have a higher quality of life. But what we found when we got here was something we never really expected. We found access to healthcare, to affordable housing, affordable transportation, fresh food, amazing community, safety in countries that we had been told.
So she must be talking about Thailand right now, which I agree. It's probably one of the better first stepping stones that you should try out. If you're gonna try out a different country, it's super affordable. It's not perfect, okay? You're always kind of going to be labeled a farang, this outsider. It's not derogatory, but they recognize, like, yeah, people from the West carry more wealth and they have dual pricing. But you know what? As much as that sometimes bothered me, when you still put it on paper, I'm still saving probably half the expense that I would be paying in America, even after being, you know, whatever you want to call it. It's not equal, sure, but is it better than where I come from still? Absolutely. And it's not like that everywhere, because let me give an example. I went to get my hair cut in Pattaya. It was about 250 baht, not too much. I'd be paying like $20 here in America, so that was probably like $9 maybe, ish, probably less. I went to my girlfriend's small village the next month and I had to get another haircut. I was expecting to, the farang price, because there's definitely not many white people in her village. And I was just so... I tipped the guy, obviously, because he, did a better job on my hair. But he charged me the local price. And so I want to throw that out there, too. When you go to these places, especially the touristy places, there will be people that try to take advantage of the tourist price. But the thing I love about Thailand and a lot of other countries is like there's negotiation a lot of times. At some places, it's not even a big deal to me anymore, because like I said, America's actually screwing me more with the prices than another country is by charging me a little extra for being a visitor.
In Thailand, there's universal health care. In Vietnam, 90% of people are covered by public health insurance, and healthcare costs are much lower. While we were in Vietnam, we had to take our 2-year-old to the ER after a head injury, and we paid a little over $7 out of pocket to be seen, and that was without health insurance. Meanwhile,
yeah,
in America,
I'm gonna just do a quick thing of my medical stuff, and if you want more, watch the card I'll leave above, because I have so much medical videos relating to Thailand and medical costs and how America's not affordable. But what she just said is, yes, they offer public health care that's pretty decent for normal things. They also offer excellent private hospitals that are affordable. When I visited Thailand, I went to this regenerative medicine clinic, and I started doing treatments that I just did not have access to here in America. And if I tried, I had to go to my doctor, request a specialist, a referral, as you would. And the one time I did that earlier this year, as I had health insurance that I had to pay deductibles on and reach over $200, and then eventually they didn't solve shit. I'm still bleeding. I still have health issues. They didn't solve anything, but they have no problem billing me extra hundreds and hundreds of dollars that I already paid or my insurance paid also. And then I'm still getting bills from the hospital and threatening to charge me more money because, yeah, it took me months this year to pay off medical debt for ultimately not solving shit, okay? Versus, at least when I visited Thailand and did some of these other treatments, I got some periods of reprieve that I didn't feel like death every day. I still had some days, sure, I was struggling. However, I was able to get IV therapy, liver detox. It pumps a bunch of B vitamins because I think my stomach's messed up that my doctor should know already. That's probably not absorbing correctly. So I think that finally helped my body able to recover a little bit easier. Go watch the video. I'm not going to waste this whole video talking about my medical issues, but overall it cost me like $60 to do these IV treatments, a hyperbaric oxygen chamber so that saturates your muscles and your tissues with oxygen so it could repair itself better. They aren't offering this shit in America. Not to the poor people, at least. Like you have to grease the right pockets here in the healthcare industry, and it's not affordable.
It can cost $300 just to go to the doctor and thousands of dollars for an ER visit, and that's with insurance. And the food here is so healthy. It is fresh.
So
it's
good.
Grown locally. There are neighborhood street markets on every corner. It is affordable food, even when you compare it to the wages that the people make here. There's fresh vegetables and fruit and meat and spices and
Lambachan.
to-go meals that
So
you
much
can
good
just
fruit.
grab and take home with you that are made by local families. Even the poor families here eat well. They have access to affordable, healthy foods.
Every day eating chicken, eating fruit. They're buying like a kilo of lambachan or mangosteen for like 20, 30 baht sometimes, which get out of town.
It's not owned by corporations. It's not profitized. It's just local people feeding each other. Compare that to rural America, where processed food is more affordable, maybe the only thing available.
It's all manufactured in America.
And people may have to drive 20 miles just to get to a grocery store. In the community here is strong. They are still very much family oriented. Families live together, elders are respected, children are respected. People know their neighbors. They look out for each other, even us, even being foreigners, even not being from this area. Just the community vibe that we get. We feel so safe and accepted here. Listen, we've been told our whole lives that America is the greatest country in the world. And I'm not here to bash America. There are some amazing things about America. I love certain parts of
the public parks, the national
American,
parks.
Of course.
They're great.
I'm not
Thank you, Roosevelt.
denying that. But we still have to acknowledge the problems that we are facing. A lot of us are facing and are truly struggling. We've been sold the lie that if you work hard enough, that if you sacrifice enough, everything is going to be okay. But what I've seen overseas is that a good quality of life is not only about wealth and making more money, it is about priorities. These countries aren't perfect, far from it. No country is, but they are prioritizing healthcare, affordable housing, transportation, community care, basic human dignity. While in America, that is slipping away for millions of people. So when people ask us, why did we leave?
What are your tax dollars actually funding? Healthcare? Education? The people of America? Think about it.
Isn't it scary to move abroad? Our answer is no. What's scary is being one hospital visit away from losing everything. What's scary is watching people that you love break down from stress, debt, and isolation in the richest country on earth. If you are struggling right now, if you're exhausted, anxious, stressed, just know that it's not your fault. You're not lazy, you're not stupid, and you're not broken. You are living in a system that was not designed for you to succeed.
You're not living in a system that's designed for you. You were just born here, forced to do these things. Now, I did also make recent videos kind of on that topic. I'll again link it in the cards. But the one that keeps coming back to my mind is this one woman was saying, it's not you, it's your environment. And my favorite comment I read on that below her video, it said, before you diagnose yourself with depression and all these mental issues, make sure you're not in a room full of assholes. I had to laugh at that.
It's not designed to take care of you. It's designed to extract from you. We've all been sold the same story.
We're being farmed.
If you work hard enough, if you follow the rules, if you keep your head down, then you will live the American dream. But that American dream just isn't true for most of us anymore. The cost of housing, food, education, healthcare have all skyrocketed, and wages have barely moved in 40 years. Meanwhile, billionaires are tripling their wealth and corporations pay almost no taxes. This isn't a failure of individuals, it is a failure of policies by both parties that over decades have prioritized profit over people. Us in America are owned by corporations. Everything is for profit. Our healthcare, our food system, things that
it all runs on money.
Needs. Our government bails out banks. They let corporations outsource jobs, slash benefits, and raise prices. They defund schools and healthcare in our towns. And you are just told to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I get told a lot that wages in these other countries are a lot lower than in the US.
Just pull yourself up by the bootstraps. We all had to go through the mud. We all had to work our ass off all these generations, and we took all these years building our wealth. You have to suffer just as much. But it's worse.
And yes, while that is true, somebody in Thailand can still pay for housing, food, healthcare, all of their basic needs, and still have money left over at the end of the month to save or have a little bit of fun with.
What I'll say about my experience with Thailand is they work very hard, and sometimes, most times, 6 days a week and 10 to 12 hour days. So I don't totally want to say, it's a better work life over there if you're living there natively there. Maybe it's a different experience if you're a foreigner coming with a college degree and they're offering you a position with a work visa. Like those things probably they have more budget for. But most of these low-end jobs are only paying like equivalent US $10 a day. So they're lucky to get $300 to $400 a month, which is crazy to me to think. Like if you're working 6 days a week, 12-hour days, you're only making $400.
If you look at the same average wage and then deduct all of your meeting your basic needs expenses, healthcare.
But she's got the point. Is like we have so much taken out of our checks to go towards Social Security that most of us don't really see in return. And we pay all these extra taxes that come out of our income that, I'm not saying, they have taxes also. But again, they have more access to the health care if that happens.
There's no money left over. In fact, most people are going into debt just to meet their most basic needs today. So while the wages are lower in these developing nations, the cost of basic living expenses are also much lower. We have personally lost family members due to the healthcare crisis in the US. We have watched families not only lose their lives, but their homes. We have watched neighbors lose jobs, lose hope. And through it all, we've been told that
My uncle's about to lose his home and his job
but there's no
because he's
fixing
car
the
wreck.
system that is controlled by money when you don't have any to begin with. And the thing that is most frustrating is that this country has the money. It has the resources, but what it doesn't have is the desire to build
and it chooses not to.
system in which ordinary people are able to survive and maybe even thrive. And that's why we left, not because we hate America, but because we wanted to be able to live. So you might be thinking, that's great for you, but I can't just pack up and leave the country. And I totally get that. I am not suggesting that everyone just pack up and move. I know that there are very valid reasons why a lot of people can't do that. But what we need to do is we need to wake up to the reality of what is going on. And you need to know that you are not trapped. You've just been told that you are. Step one is to question the narrative. Start asking yourself, who is benefiting from me believing that my suffering is normal? That I should have to work 2 jobs just to afford to pay rent and put food on the table? That I deserve to go into debt just to go to the doctor? You don't deserve that. Nobody does. The system wants you to believe that. They want you to think that you're failing so that you will work harder. It's your fault for not figuring it out. It's your fault for not working hard enough, for not getting the right college degree, for...
They have bashed it over our heads again and again and again. Compete, compete, compete. Be better than your neighbor. Outwork your neighbor. The one that works harder gets the most reward. And I'm sorry, but there's just not always enough seats at the table.
Not having the right job. Step 2 is to rebuild your life around your priorities. Wherever you are, whether you live in rural America, the city, or another country, really stop and think what you want your priorities in life to be. Is it healthy?
Do that now, right below. Comment what your priorities are, and I hope to see a few of you are prioritizing your health. If you don't take care of your health, you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. You got to optimize and maximize your potential. So eat right, exercise, don't overdo it either. Take care of your body.
Food. You can start a garden or going to farmers markets or really deep diving in ways on how to source healthy, low-cost foods. Do you need to become more financially literate so that you can understand debt and savings and living below your means, budgeting? All of those things are still very, very important and very vital to living in a weak economic society. And step 3 is to consider your options, and yes, that might even mean thinking about leaving the country if that is a viable option for you. There are safe, affordable, family-friendly...
I'll leave this lady's video below. You can finish it out if you want. But yeah, weigh your options. I feel like I felt like I was almost losing my mind when I thought, man, is my best option to leave? to get real health care? Is that my best option? To live in the land that is America and feel like I have no access for proper health care? And for me it was, and still is, and I'm still, making that transition as we speak. If you have comments, questions below, drop them. I'd like to hear from other expats to compare the differences. I've heard a lot of stories already about reverse culture shock, people that have lived overseas and then have come back to America and just can't believe the state in which it's gotten to, the price that everything's become. This woman talked about living in Tennessee. I thought that might have been one of the better states to choose as far as cost of living. I don't think they have property tax, and the climate's good to grow things all year round. But she mentioned like the ruralness and the distance of conveniences and stuff. And I just didn't experience much of that in Thailand. Now they do have spread out villages and such, but I feel like each village, they all have like a weekend market or a night market, not even just for the weekend. Some of them have a market every single night where they all come, they all bring their food, they sell their excess. Like that's what was a positive culture shock to me. Is just like, wow, this is happening. This is the weekend get together to socialize, to shop, and everything's affordable. And you can eat good, eat healthy. So I'll drop links below. By the way, go check out my website. I have a whole page there I've organized to help you think about if you were considering a transition like this, what to do with your money. How do you build money if you need a reliable income because maybe you're not quite retired yet. A lot of people go there to retire when they have Social Security kicking in, which is the cheat code. But for the rest of us, we got to find out how to make a living, and it is possible. You can even teach English there, if all else. If you're a native speaker, that's not too hard to get into. It's not going to pay a lot, so you're going to have to live frugal. So you should probably check out my webpage. So I hope to see you over there. Don't stop chasing the escape.